So, are you one of many Americans who were hopeful earlier this year that the Federal Reserve would cut interest rates in 2024? Well, now we're halfway through the year, and perhaps those hopes are fading as the Federal Reserve continues to fight inflation. Rates currently stand a little over 5%. Core CPI, the main indicator for inflation, is still slightly above the Fed's 2% target. But there are ways Americans can use the current financial climate to cash in on some opportunities. So let's bring in CPA and president of the Marks Group, Jean Marks. So, Jean, always good to have you. Listen, I know you sent in some notes, so you sent in some suggestions, so let's go down those. Sure. You said to maximize interest income. So how do you do that?
Yeah, let's talk about that, Arthel. So first of all, interest expense is high, but there are opportunities by maximizing interest income. You just mentioned that inflation right now is around 3%, but most banks are offering CDs that pay, certificates of deposits that pay anywhere from 5 to 6% in interest. Or if you don't want a CD, you want to get a treasury note or a treasury bill or talk to an insurance company about a multi-year annuity. All of these things are paying in excess of 5%. The thing you have to be careful is that when you put money into any of these vehicles, you are locking them up for a period of time. It might be 6 months or a year or even longer. So if you've got excess cash, though, that you don't think you're going to be using, put it away in a CD, Arthel, and you'll earn almost twice what inflation is right now. It's a good way to take advantage of high interest rates.
Okay, that's good, Jean. And you said that we should consider options for refinancing debt at lower rates. Now, as you well know, people's credit scores are getting reduced because of their current financial status. So how can those consumers find those lower rates?
Credit cards, first of all, if you're maintaining a balance on your credit card, you want to make it priority number one to get rid of your credit card debt. I mean, we all know that credit cards charge so much. I mean, anywhere from 20 to 30% in interest in some cases. So you have to remove your credit card debt. So what do you do, Arthel? Well, if you have equity in your home, and by the way, many home prices have been going up a lot over the past couple of years, so you might have more equity than you think. You want to try and maybe get a home equity loan and move your credit card debt to that. You will find yourself paying half the amount of interest, even more than half. Even if you can't get a home equity loan, but you've got other assets, you might be able to get a personal loan from your bank. Whatever you can do to shift that debt away from credit cards and into a loan that's either secured by your house or secured by other assets, you will save significantly on those high interest costs.
Okay, so Jean, I want to right now take a look at the average debt. Average debt amounts per consumer. We'll start with mortgage. This is average, right? Again, $245,000. Home equity line of credit, you just mentioned that, a HELOC, $42,000. Auto loan, $24,000. Credit card, $6,500. This again is the average debt amounts per consumer. Student loan, $39,000. So you're looking at a total average of $104,000. So I'm going to ask you a question that might be controversial, but here goes. Can banks lower their interest rates, decrease their profit margins to help out those individual consumers, their clients, through these tough times?
The answer is absolutely yes, Arthel. And by the way, I mean, I deal with a lot of small business owners and a lot of individual clients. They are dealing with their banks as well. Banks are businesses like anything else. They make money off of interest, and interest is negotiable. Different banks charge different rates. It depends on the deal that you have with your bank. It depends on the type of relationship you have with your bank. But there is no reason why, if you feel like you are burdened with too much debt with your mortgage or too much debt with something else, that you can't talk to your mortgage company or your bank about refinancing or renegotiating that debt to extend it a little bit more, or even asking for a lower interest rate. You might be surprised and you might get help. None of these institutions want to see you default on any of those loans. And if you feel that you're overburdened, they will work along with you. I've seen it before with many of my clients.
Yeah, because if you default, they're stuck with the property, or you're shopping for a better deal, so they want to keep your business. Let me quickly get this in here before we have to go. We're talking about for businesses now. We were talking about individuals. You suggest leveraging financing options from the SBA and state small business credit. Talk about that.
So the Small Business Administration has been a big resource for a lot of my clients this year. Their interest rates that they charge on their loans are pretty much at market rates, so it's not as if you're going to save that much on interest. However, two things with them. You can go to them. You have more of a chance of getting a loan as a small business because those loans are guaranteed by the federal government. And number two, the Small Business Administration just introduced a working capital loan. And what they're trying to do is to encourage small businesses to take away from their credit card debt, like we talked about before, and move it to a small business, an SBA working capital loan, because the interest rates there are significantly lower than what you're paying for a credit card. And that's designed specifically for small businesses. So go to SBA.gov, look for an SBA lender in your area, and go out and talk to one of those lenders. They're banks, and they will be able to talk to you and offer those options.
That's why I called you. Thanks for answering the call, Gene Marks. Take care.
Thank you, Arthel. You take care. Have a great 4th.
You too. Thank you.
And good advice.